कला कहानी में आज हम आपकी मुलाकात करवाने जा रहे हैं सुविख्यात भरतनाट्यम नृत्यांगना रमा वैद्यनाथन से। आप अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ख्याति प्राप्त पद्म विभूषण से अलंकृत डॉक्टर यामिनी कृष्णमूर्ति और पद्म भूषण से अलंकृत डॉक्टर सरोजा वैद्यनाथन की शिष्या हैं। In a performance career spanning over 30 years, Rama Vaidyanathan has developed her own individual style without forsaking the core principles of her dance form. Her technique is grounded, yet there is a fresh approach to the innumerable dance compositions that she has added to the Bharatanatyam repertoire. आपको अनेक पुरस्कारों से सम्मानित किया जा चुका है, जिसमें प्रमुख है भारत सरकार का संगीत नाटक अकादमी पुरस्कार। कला कहानी आज रोशनी डालने जा रही है उनके व्यक्तित्व पर, उनकी कला पर और उनकी सोच पर। रमा, वेलकम टू कला कहानी।
Thank you, Sadhna. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
My pleasure too, Rama. Acha, tell me one thing. You're fortunate to have learned from two great gurus, Yamini ji and Sarojaji. So you must be feeling pretty blessed.
Yes, actually, I'm really, really blessed because, first of all, not only have I learned from two gurus, I've learned the heritage of two lineages. And I think I'm blessed, about that. And the other thing is, most interestingly, I was with Yamini Amma since the time I was 6 till I was 18. So all my childhood and my teenage life, I was with one guru. And then I get married, and then I become a grown woman, a wife, a mother, and then I have another guru. And actually, that really helped me because there was a different kind of a guru holding my hand at different stages of my life.
Yamini ji's persona is larger than life. And as a person, as a performer, how is she and how is she as a guru?
You know, as a person, she was extremely loving and she would treat me like one little baby. And once when I started crying in the class, because everybody else in the class was elder to me, and she said, okay, let's, whoever knows Alaripu, do Alaripu. Because the other kids had learned from somewhere, had come, and I had not learned anywhere. And I didn't know Alaripu, and I felt very bad. And I stood at the back of the classroom and I started crying because I felt cheated. And ye kaise ho gaya? Mujhe to ye pata hi nahi hai. And you know, all the time I wanted to be right in front, and I used to be one of those front benchers, right under her nose. And then she would say, don't stand under my nose, go a little far away, only then I can see you. So then I started crying. And then she started, oh my God, this little baby is crying. Come here, come here. She put me on her lap and she said, don't worry. I will teach you if you don't know it. That's okay. So she was so loving. And as a teacher, Sadhna, she didn't keep anything back with her. She taught the way she danced. You know, she didn't keep anything like this is for me and this is for students. She didn't have that. I didn't understand that at that time. But over the years, as I grew older, that's when I understood, oh my God, she just taught me exactly what she was. So she was so generous and so giving. And of course, as a dancer, we all know what a magnificent personality she was on stage. And I think the reason of her that magnetic personality that she had, it's because of her complete surrender to the stage. And that's one thing I learned from her, that she would come onto that stage and that space around her would be subservient to her. You know, it was that complete control and surrender. I mean, that's it's not possible, right, to do both, to control and to surrender. But I think she had that magnificent quality of doing both. And that is what has attracted me.
So you learned from her from scratch.
Yes.
And while learning from her, she taught you in a group, as you said, but did she also teach you individually later?
Yes, she taught me individually also. She taught me in a group, not too many girls, like we were just a group of 5 or 6 girls. We would learn in a group. And then when my Arangetram came, so when I turned 10, her father said that now we have to do Arangetram for Rama. She wasn't ready. He he was persistent. He said, no, let's do it. And it was a sense of Arangetram for her also, because she was presenting her student for the first time. And for the first time, she was doing Nattuvangam. Yeah, I was her first student to do the Arangetram in 1977 in Sapru House.
Okay.
Huh.
And she did your Natvangam herself.
Yes, of course. Yes, yes. And the comparing was by her father.
Wow.
He did the comparing.
What is Yamini Ji's influence on your dance?
The first thing is that the sense of work, hard work. Because many times when I would go to class, her rehearsals would be on, and I know, because the musicians would tell me that she would be rehearsing since morning, and it would be 3 o'clock by the time I go. So that sense of hard work and toil, and the commitment that she had for her dance, I think I was able to imbibe little bit, just a little bit from her. That has been one influence. And the other influence is, like I said, that dance like there is no tomorrow. Don't you feel that that's the feeling you get when you see her dance?
Yes, yes.
Dance like there is no tomorrow, that complete abandon on stage. So I think these are the few factors that have influenced me.
Yeah. And then you moved on to Sarojaji once you got married to her son. So you were her daughter-in-law and her disciple. So what is the influence of her dance on you, on your dance?
So Amma, Saroja Amma, she taught me how to be a professional dancer. She taught me how to plan your program, what to present, how to talk to organizers, how do you go on with your choreographic process. She taught me how to become a professional dancer, and she guided me on that path. And not just that, she also taught me the whole repertoire from her lineage, from what she learned from her guru. So I ended up learning this two different kinds of two repertoires, two different different styles.
Right.
Both styles are different, but that age you pick up everything, and then nothing seems difficult for you. So I picked up everything and I learned so much. So by the time I was in my 20s, I had so much of material, that I could work with.
Whose style do you follow? Yamini ji's or Saroja ji's, or have you evolved your own style?
Yeah, that's interesting, Sadhna, because yes, I can say that I have developed my own style, which is an amalgamation of both. And I also want to tell you, I didn't do it consciously. It just happened organically. It happened only when people told me that, oh, you have a different style. I didn't realize it till people told me. So I consciously, in my dialogue, negotiating this material that I had learned, from both gurus, in that whole process, and of course, adding my own perspective to it. So in that whole process, it looks like that I developed a style.
Rama, what is the importance of experimentation in dance?
I think it is extremely important, because I think tradition has to pulsate and, like beat, like the heartbeat constantly. And it has to be living, and it has to be flowing like a river. And it is not something that has to be covered in a glass case and kept in a museum. So, for tradition to evolve, I think there has to be um, innovation and individual perspectives. Having said that, I feel that the core principles of the dance form being maintained. I mean, it's not that I can't, I mean, I don't have the license to do anything and say that, okay, I was experimenting. There is an auchatyam, there is a decorum that I have to maintain, and it's a balance. It's like a tightrope walk, and you need to learn to walk that tightrope of tradition and innovation. And I think it is. I won't even say it is important, and I won't even say it is necessary. I will say it is inevitable. It is completely inevitable. It's evolution. Times have to change, and you have to adapt to the world of the now, of what is happening now.
Acha, could you tell us something about your landmark choreographic works?
I want to speak about one work called Mad and Divine, which I premiered at the Natya Darshan seminar in Chennai, which was curated by Dr. Anita Ratnam. It's called Mad and Divine because it was a conference on female mystic poets. And I decided to take two poets. One is Janabai, the 13th century saint poet from the Varkari tradition in Maharashtra, and Lalded, the 14th century Kashmiri saint from Kashmir. And both were completely opposite. One was a Vaishnavite, the other was a Shaivite. One believed in the form, the other believed in the formless. One believed in rituals, the other believed in being abstract, believed in Tantra. So this work has been very interesting for me. And the other is a work called Chitravali, based on miniature paintings. And it is as though the characters of the paintings have jumped out, performed, and gone back into the painting. Because when you see miniature paintings, you know that it's not just a painting, it's a freeze in a moment, it's a freeze in a sequence of events. So something has happened before the painting, something is going to happen after the painting, and this painting is just one freeze of time. So I try to create a prefix and a suffix to the painting and created a performance on several of these paintings using Hindustani music and also showcasing the painting. One work is a duet that I do with Dakshina, my daughter. We call it Dvita, duality of life, where we bring in the dichotomy of several issues of the Jivatma, Paramatma, of mother and daughter, because since we were really mother and daughter, I did a piece on the mother and the daughter, on the male and the female, several things like this. So we worked on this on Dvita. And my latest work is called Vivartana, which is a group work with my disciples. Vivartana dance transforms. So it's about how dance is transformational. It was a work that ended up bringing my life experiences with dance onto the stage. Because if you see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mirabai, all of them danced their way into spiritual realization. Rumi spoke about dance. So I spoke about how different saints in different cultures speak about the importance and relevance of dance and how it takes you to a parallel reality and how it helps you to reach spiritual awareness. So it was a lot of my own experiences that I brought to this work.
What is your normal presentation like? Is it always a traditional amalgam, or do
Mm.
you feel the need to choreograph a new piece for every occasion?
See, the thing is, one is these thematic kind of performances, that the whole performance is around a theme, like Chitravali or Mad and Divine. That is a production. But otherwise, what I really enjoy doing is a proper hardcore margam. And in the margam, I include traditional compositions either from the Tanjore quartet or padams and javlis, traditional, meant for the Bharatanatyam repertoire. I perform them But I also include my own compositions that I have choreographed from scratch, like I have conceptualized them from scratch. Because see, if you take a varnam or a kirtanam or a padam and choreograph it, I don't call that choreography. That is just setting your dance to the existing composition. What I call choreography is when you create a piece from nothing. From it could be just one line of poetry. It could be just two verses that you have seen anyway. It could be a story. It could be anything. And how you conceptualize that piece from scratch, and then you set it to music, and then you choreograph it, and then you think, where in the margam do you present this? In the beginning, as the main piece, or after the main piece, or in the place of a tilana, you know. So that is what I have been doing. I have been creating these new compositions that can be fitted into the traditional margam in place of a padam, or in place of a pushpanjali, or in place of a tilana. And they are absolutely traditionally choreographed, in the sense the format, the music, the movements that I use, the perception to sahitya is very, very traditional.
Rama, you have learned from two great gurus and you have evolved your own style as well. How do you ensure that your guru's parampara is being carried forward? Now, whose parampara are you carrying forward?
Both, like I said, since I have developed a style which reflects both. So when I present, when I perform, I believe that I am a product, a joint product of both lineages.
One hears of a lot of workshops being carried out these days. How much do you think children learn from workshops? Because they're for how long? 1 day, 2 days, maximum 5 days?
Okay, now the thing is, when, like in my generation, when we learned, we were completely dependent on our guru. There was, no internet. And that exposure to other styles and other artistic choices was limited to just going and watching the performances. Very few seminars and conferences would be held, right? But now there are so many conclaves and discussions and social media and performances, and where the student is exposed to so many artistic choices and is exposed to the perspectives and trajectories of different artists. Are workshops necessary or not necessary? I'm going to say you and I cannot stop them. Nobody can stop them. That is how evolution takes place. That is how change takes place. Change happens because there is a necessity for the change. That is why. So, what happens in a workshop is that the participants get a window into the technique and artistic choices of that particular performer or teacher or guru. Especially when I take these workshops, I always tell them that it's not performative piece. The piece is not so much for you to go outside and perform. This piece is for you to understand my way of choreography, not so that you have to learn it like a parrot, so that doors and windows in your own mind will open, and it will lead you to thinking, oh, this is what you can do, this is also you can do. So it is more about telling you the versatility of Bharatanatyam. Like I said, every dancer has a different trajectory, and it is nice to be exposed to the different choices, and then you make your own choice, because this is exactly what I did.
Having said that, don't you feel a lot of children today are in a hurry to learn items so that they can quickly go onto the stage and perform them, irrespective of whether they are mature enough to be on stage?
Yes, I have seen this trend. Like I said in my workshops, I keep telling them that this is not for you to perform. I have seen the trend, but again, Sadhana, you and I cannot stop it. This is change, this is evolution, and those little children have to dance and understand They have to understand that this is not going to work for them. They need proper training. No, you or me telling them is not going to work. They have to understand conscious. It has to get into their own conscious to understand it, and then they will understand, oh, I have to go through the proper training process. Because unless you go through a proper training process, unless you go through the tough part, nothing's going to happen. Success is not going to happen. Having said that, let me tell you, I have also seen youngsters, young dancers of today who are extremely keen in learning, in exploring, in grasping the essence of what they can use for their own dance, how they can enrich themselves further. I've also seen that. So we cannot, in one statement, say that these kids are learning and they're performing, and and they're spoiling the whole pedagogy system. But like everything is changing, pedagogy is also changing, and it is up to the teacher and the student to maintain the important aspects and take the good things of the present pedagogy and use it and harness it to to optimize uh, the level of excellence that the student can achieve.
And what is your take on teaching online?
Oh my gosh, Sadhna, this online business. Now, suppose I have a student in Pune, one is in Chennai, one is in France, and one is in USA. Now, when I say tadittam, okay, there's a lag always. Okay, the Pune girl will not do tadittam. She'll do tadittam. Sound will come, but she'll do tadittam. Okay, there's a lag. The France one will go tadittam. The USA one will go tadittam. Can you imagine? Three different people on my screen with three different tals. It took me so long to wrap my head over the lag. I know that this is the new normal, like they say, and you have to get over it. Like I said again, could anyone stop it? Nobody could stop it. There is a lag, and we keep saying Guru and Shishya, you have to be with each other. The Shishya has to stay in the Guru's home, and that is the kind of education that is necessary for a student of dance. I completely agree. But what happened in the lockdown? Everybody is teaching online. So again, we cannot stop it. We have to go with the flow.
What do you do when you see a beautiful sari? Do you want to wear it or do you want to cut it up and make a costume? Really? Oh my God.
I want to cut it up, but sometimes I get very greedy, like you want to have your cake and eat it too. So sometimes I'll wear it a few times and then I'll cut it off.
Okay.
That's a good system, na?
Yes, that's a very good system. So you started dancing with your daughter also, or rather, she has started dancing with you. So what's the experience like?
Oh, okay. It's a lot of fun because, the mother-daughter bonding, and, we laugh a lot. And then we have so many fantastic experiences when we travel abroad, and funny experiences, and we go through so much. But at the same time, it's little it's scary sometimes because she is very pakka and she will remember everything. Okay, and I am used to doing solo dancing, and I am used to going to the stage and changing everything last minute. Okay, so I if I change, so then she'll get upset. She'll say, Mama, people will not think that I have made a mistake. You have made a mistake. People will think that I have made the mistake. So I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. I have to keep, to what we have rehearsed. And then Sadhana, I was 21 when she was born. So she's 21 years younger to me. So to match the energy of that age is a challenge, right? It is a
Right.
challenge. So, but I like the challenge. I like the challenge, and I like the fun. I like the excitement. I like the scolding she gives me sometimes in the green room. You changed that last minute. I said, okay, sorry.
Could you recall some incident which you can never forget or which you'll always remember?
Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, I was a great, I can say devotee of him, and he used to love me a lot. And when I went to San Diego, where he and Sukanya ji, who's a very, very dear friend, she's like my older sister. Uh, they used to live there. And I went to San Diego for a performance. And Sukanya ji came for the performance. And Guruji couldn't come because he wasn't feeling well. So she said, so after the performance, she came up to me and she said, Rama, uh, I just like this performance and I know Guruji will love these pieces. Why don't you come and dance for us, for him, just for him? You and your musicians, like a proper concert.
Right.
I said, of course, I'll do it, Akka. I'll do it. So she said, come and see the house and see where you can perform. So I went to their house and I saw that there was a nice swimming pool, and by the swimming pool, there was a nice concrete place. And with mountains in the backdrop and all that, I said, this is a nice place to perform. She hired mics and she had a place for the musicians to sit. And I did the whole performance with Guruji sitting with his monkey cap and a shawl, and Sukanya ji sitting, and in the middle, their dog. And I did the whole performance with just this as the audience. It was such an exhilarating experience because the way he responds and the way he understands the nuances of the music, of the dance, of the sahitya. I finished the performance and he was very sweet to, speak to me about all the things that he liked about the performance. And there was a nice dinner that they hosted for me and my musicians. And finally, when I was going back to the hotel, Sukanya ji gives me a check, which I was just not expecting. So I took I said, okay, thank you so much. And I went. Now, 3 years later, I am in London and Guruji has this fantastic performance in this beautiful theatre in London. And Sukanya ji said that, Rama, come, I'll keep a seat for you. So I went for the performance, and that was his last performance in UK. And I saw the performance, and after the performance, there was a standing ovation for 10 minutes. It was fantastic. And then Sukanya ji said, come backstage. So I said, okay, I'll come. So it took me a while to go backstage. I went, and in the green room, I saw that he was with an oxygen cylinder. And I didn't know that. So I just opened the door and I backed. So immediately Sukanya ji looked at me and she said, no, Rama, come in, come in. This man, he's just finished a performance, a fantastic performance where 4,000 people gave him a standing ovation for 10 minutes. And then he gets breathless. And now he's lying on his couch with this oxygen cylinder like that. And he's barely able to talk. He looks at me and he says, Rama, Rama, oh, wow. Oh my God, I still remember that beautiful performance you gave for me in my house. Kya kiya tumne? And he started talking to me about my performance. And I'm like, okay, Guruji, okay, वो ठीक है आप कुछ मत बोलिए अभी, because you're not able to breathe. But then he just wouldn't listen. He just would just look at me and just recounted what he saw 3 years ago. And then
Right.
I just had tears in my eyes, and I just looked at Sukanya ji, and she just held my hand, and she was used to this kind of behavior, right? So she just looked at me. Sadhna, that was such a humbling experience for me. We artists, what is name, what is fame, what is recognition, what are awards? When you cannot be humble to yourself and to the art and to the world around you. That was such a learning experience for me. Um, Something very special. Yeah.
Tell me, Rama, you're traveling so often, and at one time your mother in law was also traveling very often. How do you spend time? Firstly, how did you get time to be together, all of you? And then how do you like to spend time as a family?
Okay, the thing is, since I travel so much, when I'm in Delhi, I am stay put in the house, and that is my quality time. and we consciously decide to have meals together. We consciously decide to, watch something on television together, or maybe go out to have dinner or to watch a movie. We do that. And I must say that my husband has been extremely supportive, and especially when the children were young, to be there as a parent, and not just, Sadhna, not just take care of the children and attend the parent teachers meeting, or go and buy their uniform, or be there when they have an exam, or make their morning tiffin, breakfast, whatever. Not just doing that, but also not making me feel guilty for missing it, and constantly telling me, don't worry, you do that, and then don't worry, I'm there to hold the fort. That has been such a huge blessing in my life. And then my mother-in-law being there, as a huge support system in the house. And I also have to tell you that I have a huge support system with my sisters. So I have two older sisters who have taken care of my children, especially during times when I have been traveling and my husband has also needed to travel for work. So those times they have, been the support system for me. So that has worked. Yes.
I know you're very lucky that your entire family is there to support you. And now occasionally one sees your husband Kamesh. Also, I've seen him on the stage as a sutradhar
Yeah, I
for your
know.
production.
That is, his mother pulled him into it. Yeah, he's having fun doing it.
And your younger daughter plays the mridangam now, right?
Yes, my younger daughter plays the mridangam, and she's already started accompanying me for small programs, Speak McKay and small lecture demonstrations. But yes, she's going to do her Arangetram next year. And Sadhna, you have to be there
I'll be there. I'll be there.
because you emceed Dakshina's
Yeah.
Arangetram.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to MC Sannidhi's Arangetram too.
With pleasure. With pleasure. I'd love to.
Yes, yes. I cannot think of anybody else but you to do this for both my daughters. Yes, so she is very interested in Mridangam.
So lovely. So lovely. And she travels on her own also for other programs. I've seen her and I was very impressed.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Rama, thank you so much for taking out so much time and for sharing your experience and your journey with the viewers of Kahani.
Thank you so much, Sadhna. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
And I look forward to seeing you outside the virtual world in the real world soon.
Absolutely. Yes, you too. I look forward to seeing you too.
Okay, Rama. Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye. Bye bye.